Hi folks, so in this session we are going to take a look at the process of setting up editing scene based on two actual scenes. Okay, so this is the outcome of this tutorial. So as you can see in the video sequence editor, we have two scenes that have been composed using FX strip. Okay, so some transitions. Okay, and you'll also notice we are making use of grease pencil sketches in the scene. So all these tools are very useful for you know creating the basic animatic or just the basic layout of your work. Okay, so we have this scene 1, we have this scene 2. So both these scenes will be sharing the same data except for the camera. Okay, cool. So let's get started. I'll open up a new file and let me quickly um, lay out my screen. Okay, I want the outliner to be over here, and I'll click and drag to remove this, and I'll also enable a plugin. Okay, let me see if I can get it. Okay, screencast keys. So once I enable this plugin, I should be able to enable key display. Okay, so click, so G, so there you go, escape. Alright, let's get back to the scene setup, and then I need a timeline. Timeline over here, and then video sequence editor at the bottom. Okay, I'm gonna split it in two. Let me save this quick. Alright, um, okay, so over here we will have the sequence strips, and here it will be the display. Okay, I have the default scene. Okay, I'll name it scene 1, scene underscore 1. In this scene I have this cube geometry. Okay, let me move it up. So you'll notice that in the tool shelf, after you perform an operation, you have a chance to edit the values. Okay, so I want it to be 1, and then I'm going to add a plane, and then scale it up. Alright, and the next step is adding a cylinder. Okay, you can use the Z key to switch between a wireframe and solid mode. Okay, so I want to move this up by exactly 1 unit, and you'll notice the origin of this object is over here. I want this origin to be at the world origin. Okay, now the 3D cursor is at the world origin, right? So there is an operation called origin. I can shift my origin to the 3D cursor. Okay, so there you go. So now the object transformations will happen around this point. Now let's scale it up. Okay, and then move it to the side. Okay, cool. So we have a simple scene. Let me save it, and we have an active camera over here. So let's look through the camera. Okay, and we need to adjust the camera. So I'll just lock camera to view and then scroll the mouse. So this is a quick way, and I can also switch to the fly navigation mode. Okay, space and fly navigation. The hotkey is Shift F, and then move the mouse up and down to look, and then middle click the mouse and drag the mouse down to move down, and then look up again. Okay, so that's where I want it. Yeah, unlock. Now let's look at the camera object. So the camera object properties are here, so you can enable certain things. Okay, let's switch to the okay, I can enable the name, I can enable the axis. Okay, axis display. Okay, so these are some useful properties here. Similarly, for geometry you have other options like display wire. Okay, cool. Switch back to the camera. Okay, so this is scene number one. Okay, now next up is creating another scene. Okay, so over here let's click it and add a empty scene. Okay, so empty scene. So the name of the scene is scene, so let's click in the outliner and name it as scene 2. So this scene doesn't have any objects, so we will be linking objects from scene 1 into scene 2. So I'm in scene 1 right now. Okay, let me select the cube, cylinder, and the plane and the lamp as well. Okay, and then object, let me make links. Okay, make links. So the selected objects must be linked to scene number 2. Okay, scene number 2. So once I do that, you'll notice a few things in the outliner. Scene number 2 also has these objects linked, and also the origin display of the objects has changed, okay, to cyan color. Okay, cool. So it means these objects are linked. You'll also notice in the object properties, since this cylinder object is being used by two scenes, there's a data block count. Okay, so there are two users that are using this data. Okay, here the users are the scenes. Okay, two scenes are using the same cylinder data. So this is one of the fundamental concepts in Blender. Okay, cool. Now let's go to scene 2. So you'll notice that in scene 2 there's no active camera. Okay, so there's no active camera. So let's add a camera. Add, and so the camera object that you add will be aligned to the view. Okay, right now we are in the user ortho view, so whichever camera object we add will be added at the origin looking along this view. Okay, so add and a camera, switch to wireframe. Oh, that didn't happen actually. Cool, no problem. What I'll do is I'll clarify this in the next video, but let me enable the transform display and switch to local mode, and then move the camera. Okay, and then rotate it. Okay, by switching this the axis changes, transform axis. Okay, so this camera is not active yet, so I'll click here and choose camera 1. So once I do that, the icon on the camera changes. So now this is the active camera, right? So let's look through the camera. Okay, and lock the camera to view, and then just rotate the view. Okay, just rotate the view. Okay, so in scene 1 the camera is here, and then in scene 2 the camera is here. Okay, now let's quickly take a look at the camera data. So the camera object properties are here, and then the camera data properties are here. So let's enable composition guides, thirds, and display name of the camera. Yeah, I can change the lens and stuff. Okay, cool. Save the file. So we have two scenes. Cool. Now what next? Let's change the scene frame range. Okay, I'll make it 24. Same for scene number 2, 24. Then now I want to create a new scene. Okay, I'll call this scene edit. Okay, so this scene will always be empty, no actual 3D objects here. The only thing that this scene contains is the sequence editor strips. So what we're going to do now is basically compose these two scenes, okay, with like a wipe effect. Okay, so transition between the two scenes with a wipe effect. So let's do that. So now this is the sequence editor. Okay, the sequence editor has different view types. Okay, so two sequence editors. This editor has a view type of just the sequence strips, and this has the just the preview enabled. We can also enable both the sequence strips and the preview. Okay, but I'll leave it at it. Now here we take different sequence strips and then arrange them in okay, the channel order. So we have channel number 0, channel number 1, 2, and so on and so forth. So let's add a sequence strip. We are going to add a scene sequence strip. So scene sequence strip will display the scene as you are looking through the camera. So let me add scene number 1. Okay, so there you go. Also the time display here is in seconds, so I'll switch it to frames. Now okay, I'll move it to frame number 1. Okay, so there you go. In the preview you can see um, of a scene 1. Okay, now let's add scene 2. Add scene 2, and I'll add it in this channel. So you'll notice once I cross the boundary the scene switches. Yeah, that's neat. Cool. Yeah, there's some overlap here. That's fine. Now let's select these two and then add a effect strip. So I'm going to create a wipe transition. So there you go. Okay, so this wipe transition happens. Now if I go here, okay, there's no overlap of these strips, so I select these strips. Oh, basically the way I added it was just select these two, shift select, and then it gets added. I can move I can select this strip. To transform strips you can just use the G key. Okay, so G key can be used to transform this. So as you can see, there is a overlap of scene 1 and scene 2 with 9 frames, and you can see the transition over here. Okay, cool. Now this strip has properties. Each of these strips has properties. So let's select this and display the properties. Okay, grease pencil, edit strip. Okay, different properties. So effect strip, different transitions, double transition. Okay, now you have double transitions, and yeah, iris. Okay, you can experiment with these things. Okay, I'll stick to this one. Okay, so yeah, I mean, this is it for this recording. So we started off with the screen layout and um, setting up the basic scene, and then creating an empty scene, linking objects from one scene to the other. Okay, and then setting up a basic sequence strip. Okay, now the fun part is by using grease pencil and basic scene blocking, we can actually, tell a story. Yeah. So what you can do is we can use the 3D cursor, position it in space. Okay, and then you can add grease pencil strokes. Okay, aligned with the cursor. Okay, and from the camera view. So let me switch to the camera view. Maybe my character will be here. Yeah, so I can start drawing grease pencil strokes. Okay, so grease pencil was covered in the previous tutorial, so I'm just going to go ahead and draw it. So there you go. Okay, so this is scene 1, scene 2. Okay, um, yeah, so in scene 1 also let's draw something. um, yep, so that's scene 1 and this is scene 2, and now there you go. Okay, and your sketches can be in 3D space. Okay, and yeah, so that's the drill. So we'll continue in the next session with splitting up these scenes into separate files and combining them together. Okay, thanks.